Hello, my name is Rajesh Chandy. I'm a professor at London Business School, and I'm grateful to the editors for this opportunity to talk about fairly fundamental questions about the paradigm we live in and where we're headed next. And specifically, the editors asked me to speak about the following set of questions. Who do we serve and why? What is our purpose and mission? Now, it seems like an opportune time to discuss these things because a number of folks over the years have been talking about these sorts of questions, questioning who we serve and what our purpose should be. But it feels today as if there's a great deal of momentum. It's as if things are changing in the way change always happens, slowly and then suddenly. What I'll do in the next few minutes is try to talk about, number one, my own perspective and actually informed by insights from scholars on who do we serve and why, and what is our purpose and mission, and then go from the present tense, do, is, to who should we serve and why, and what should be our purpose and mission. And on the who is it that we serve and what do we do, let me go to the Journal of Marketing statement about what the Journal of Marketing does. It develops and disseminates knowledge about real-world marketing questions relevant to scholars, educators, managers, policymakers, consumers, and other societal stakeholders around the world. So a whole bunch of folks listed here as the people perhaps we do serve. I asked the following question at the recent AMA Winter Educators Conference. I asked the assembled rather full room of distinguished marketing scholars the following question. If you had to pick one of these following, of this list of audiences of who we serve, which of these is it that we as a field of scholars serve? Is it scholars and educators? Is it managers? Is it policymakers? Is it consumers? Or some other set of others, unspecified others, societal stakeholders? And you can ask the question yourself. I can tell you that by far the overwhelming response was the first answer. We serve ourselves. The next one was we serve managers. So on the one hand, you could say we serve ourselves or a somewhat narcissistic group or perhaps very self-reflective group. And the second big area is around managers. And the question is why? Why do we focus on ourselves, but especially on the group of others represented by managers? Well, one could make for an argument for a certain mental model, what I call an actor-centric model of impact, on how you make a difference, and what you do, and why you do it, and what the purpose could be. So the idea would be we as scholars and educators somehow influence the thinking and behaviors of managers, who in turn influence consumers, shareholders, well, consumers by giving or not their dollars to the company, give to shareholders, and somehow they also affect other stakeholders. All of this exists in the context of a market, which is what we study. And of course, there are policymakers out there hovering around, and we have some sort of a relationship with policymakers as well. I call this view of impact a trickle-down theory of impact. So somehow we do things that affects others, who in turn affect others, and then somehow in the end, there's impact on the world at large. Implicit in that logic also is the primacy of the big corporation. And somehow we have bought into this notion that Charles Wilson, the former GM president, said many years ago, supposedly, what's good for General Motors is good for the country. But the world at large is changing. the world at large demands change for a whole bunch of reasons we'll get into briefly. Too often the response of the business community is to make notions of or allow for small change. Contrast that approach to that of Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, who just earlier this month had the following message. I have a special message for fossil fuel producers and their enablers scrambling to expand production and raking in monster profits. Your core product is our core problem. Your core product, that's a marketing point. Yeah? Your core product is our core problem, says Antonio Guterres. We need disruption to end the destruction. We no more baby steps, no more excuses, no more greenwashing, no more bottomless greed of the fossil fuel industry and its enablers. Now, more broadly, it's not just the fossil fuel industry. Industry after industry is being criticized for caring more about these sorts of entities and individuals, the fat cats, than about the concerns of the ordinary people. And people around the world are concerned that their own societies and the world at large is heading in the wrong direction. And those red lines there are the percentage of folks around the world in different countries who say the country in their country is headed in the wrong direction. And what are they concerned about? They're concerned about rather important things. Well, at the moment, it's inflation and the cost of living, but they're concerned about poverty, unemployment, crime and violence, financial and political corruption, et cetera, et cetera. Is there a role for marketing in these profoundly important questions? Historically, we have assumed or we have thought that really marketing is not directly related to any of these central issues facing the world. And indeed, to the extent it has been, the perception is, well, let's get the last bit. Inflation is high. Well, not an accident. The prices are going are higher as well. And let's get the last coin out of the consumer's pocket is sometimes the perception. I took this picture in Johannesburg, South Africa. Fundamental questions are being asked by ordinary people, in this case on the street at a demonstration, about the systems that govern us. This was in London. Capitalism is crisis. We hosted at London Business School Thomas Philippon from NYU, who has a wonderful book called The Great Reversal. And his point is this: in sector after sector, concentration of industries is so high now that these sectors are dominated by a few big players. And these big players, rather than go out and innovate, go out and create change for the better, they lobby politicians to protect and expand their profit margins. This drives up prices while driving down investment, productivity, growth, wages, etc., and more inequality. Can we, as scholars, be part of the solution to this state of affairs? So let me ask the question, who should we serve and why? And what should be our purpose and mission? Rather than this actor-centric model of impact, which is so focused on the preoccupations of the richest, the largest corporations on earth, can we also have an expanded view of marketing that incorporates not only those very important multinational organizations, but also the vast majority of marketers who are ignored by us as scholars? Can we go from being actor-centric to looking at goals? And what do I mean by that? Rather than focus on this set of issues, of this set of actors, scholars, educators, and so on, can we start with what is our goal? What should our purpose and mission be? And my proposal is our purpose and mission should be to understand and shape marketing and markets to better serve people and planet. Now, this is not a brand new idea. even if it is relatively new to our field and only now gaining momentum. The UN Sustainable Development Goals represent a wonderful statement of the basic human demands, needs of the world. So the question is, who should we serve? Which should be the people and planet, and those who engage in marketing and shape markets to affect people and the planet. Now, there are, in my opinion, certain benefits to this viewing the world this way and looking at the world through the perspective of goals. Well, we'll have a better understanding and a broader understanding of markets and marketing, because we'll not only focus on the usual suspects, we'll focus on a much wider set of topics. It'll also, importantly, allow us to investigate and address a side of business that does not get enough attention, which is the dark side of business and marketing specifically. It will also allow us to create impact. We can build coalitions across disciplines of others who are interested, across sectors, across countries, across contexts. It'll allow us to lead rather than just follow those in the world of practice. We can be the change we want to see in the world. Thank you very much.